We're here at the new Access for All barrier-free playground at Manimacala Elementary. It's a great place for kids to play because it's accessible to everyone. All kids can come together, have a great time, and do what they do best, play and have fun. Access for all. Isn't that what we want in our classrooms as well? Access for all learning, where by focusing on high-quality, universal instruction, we can remove barriers and create learning opportunities that meets the needs of students of all abilities. Classrooms are complex, and teaching can feel overwhelming at times. By considering each of the learners in our classroom as we plan each day, we can provide access to all learning. Learning where students can take part, get engaged, and have fun.
Well, I think that every student that walks through my classroom door wants to learn. And it's so important for me as a teacher to help them reach their full potential. So through effective planning and differentiated instruction, I'm able to help reduce the gap. I find using universal support, it's a more proactive approach to teaching versus a reactive approach to teaching. So if I'm ensuring and making sure that my lessons are meaningful and engaging and they're at the right level of the learner, then I am able to reach more of my students the first time instead of wondering what I'm going to do when they don't get my lesson. I've already pre-planned that. I've put that in place to help that success in the classroom. I feel it's not me making 20 different lessons. I'm actually only making one lesson. I'm just making accommodations within the lesson I'm teaching. I actually build in scaffolding techniques to help kind of reduce the barriers in the classroom. So through the scaffolding techniques and a variety of instructional techniques, I'm able to move my learners from a kind of a modeled to a peer to an independent learning atmosphere. I think that I learn just as much from my students as they learn from me, and I'm constantly amazed and at awe of their knowledge, and they're willing to take the risks and make those mistakes.
Taking the idea of having diverse learners in your classroom and using that to your advantage, instead of being nervous and thinking, how am I going to teach all these kids? Use it as, okay, well, what can I do to teach all of these kids? Use the diversity as a teaching tool in providing an engaging lesson, looking at your students, getting to know your learners and how they learn, what they're interested in, and use that instead of feeling nervous about it. I mean, it's the backwards design. You start with what you want your kids to know. What do they need to know? The big rock, the curricular outcome, and then you figure out what kids you have in front of you. Okay, I know I have a diverse classroom, so how can I make sure that every single child in this room is going to get to that goal? So planning with the end in mind is going to be the best thing for you. And if you know your kids and know them well, you can use that to your advantage. It's not something that should be scary to you. You need to try it. Start small. Plan one lesson that way and try. So just the observations as a teacher, looking at your kids, are they engaged? Doing a formative assessment, an exit pass at the end of a class. Okay, now I can figure out this person still hasn't got it, this person's got it, and knowing where they're at. So when it comes to a test, a summative assessment, they're prepared. It's our job as a teacher to teach every child that comes through the door. And if I don't know who's in my room, I'm not benefiting anyone. I need to know who's in my classroom. I need to know how they learn best. And they all can learn. So if I know how to teach them properly and what they like and build that relationship with them from the very beginning, it's going to make all the difference.
So in your planning, by providing universal support and really taking that backward design approach, what do you see, how do you see that as being a different approach, or an approach that works well with your students and for teachers as well? Because we want to, work smarter, not harder as teachers as well. So how do you find that works for you?
Well, I find that, when we bounce ideas off of each other, we are getting, we're opening the door to, again, perspectives, different ideas. Have you tried this? Have you done this? And that right there is then engaging your students even more. And through engagement comes success. And we had talked about the more successful they are, the more risks they're going to take.
They're willing to achieve. Because you're not getting those shutdown behaviors. If you're meeting the kids at their levels at the beginning of the year, they're willing to step out of their comfort zone a little bit further. If you're building the rapport with your students and you're planning with them in mind, you're putting some of their interest inside your lesson. So right there, you've hooked them.
And I think the same goes for teachers. If your students are successful, then you feel successful, which makes you take more risks and makes you try, okay, well, that lesson worked, so I can do this. And you do the same as the kids. You succeed, you want to do more.
Classrooms are complex and teaching can feel overwhelming at times. By considering each of the learners in our classroom as we plan each day, we can provide access to all learning. Learning where students can take part, get engaged, and have fun.